All right, we're going to check out the humidity situation. See if it's producing any humidity. And I don't think it's producing any humidity. If it is, it's leaving it in the box in there. All right. So this thing is humidifier is running. Heat-wise, it's going to 90 degrees when it drops down to. It looks like it just cycled off because the heat's starting to drop, and it'll go probably down to 87 degrees, and then it'll kick back on. So that's kind of what that's doing there. So let's just see what we got going on. We're picking a little moisture up right here just from the heat that was coming out of there at 133 degrees. I was getting a little heat mist there. I had a little ice right here, right up in here this morning. Had a little bit of moisture down there on the bottom, right down in there as well, just where the moisture had come in. So I didn't open it up because it was really hot, so I'm gonna go ahead and open it up now and see what's in there. All right, nice warm in there. All right, that's been cycling back and forth between 87 and 90 degrees. It takes it probably 3-4 minutes to get it up to 90 again. So that's switching my contactor to switch that heater off inside there, and probably we'll look at it tomorrow and get back in there and see about the humidifier. I may just do that right now. Well, I think I'll have to read up on my dehumidifier and see what's going on. I don't know, maybe there's just no water to be taken out of there. Again, with the steam out here, it's probably condensing out here because of the heat. And the boards were at 6 to 8, 9%, 10% maybe of that stack that was there. That's what's inside there. I've got some from the same batch back over in there, and I've got 2 stacks, almost twice as much as what I have inside the kiln right now. And of course, then I have this stack that was just cut 3 weeks ago, and it hasn't dried anything. So, all right, you heard the click on the connector go, so the heat will start going down and dropping, and then it'll cycle down to 87 and then heat back up. So that's supposed to be the right temperature for the dehumidifier to work. So I think I'll read on that dehumidifier up and see what I can figure out on it. A little bit about this contactor box. It's controlling this fan that's in the heater that's going on inside the box. The heat source is a 1500 watt Dura Heat, just a little space heater, and it will go up to 140 watts or 140 degree temperature before it kicks off. Then it will cycle off, and then probably 6-7 minutes it'll cool back off, and then it'll kick back on. So it'll keep pushing heat out at 140 degrees. However, at the 150 or the 1500 watt cycle, it's a little more than my thermostat controlled switch will do, and it has a readout. It shows the temperature inside the box, and so what I had to do is come up with a way to get this to work without blowing up this box here. These outlets here are only rated at 1100 watts, and the heater is 1500 watts. So if you just plug the heater right directly into the little switch on the end of the thermostat cord and plug it in there, it eventually would burn this switch out. If you switch this over from 750 watt to 1500 watt. So this is the diagram that I'm pretty much using. It's basically just a power strip that plugs into the wall with extension cord, and from that you have one of the plugs that goes to the dehumidifier. The dehumidifier will run up to 95 degrees, and then it will kick off. So it's all the time running and just taking the humidity out of the air. The box, the Kiln hot box, is a sealed box. It doesn't have any vents that go in or out. It's basically relying on the dehumidifier to remove the moisture out of the air. And during the winter months, there's the air's pretty dry, so there's not a whole lot of humidity in the air for drying. And so I've been getting it up to like 90 degrees in there now, and just letting the dehumidifier run and pulling some moisture off of the boards that way. The batch that I have in the kiln right now has no really, it's 6 or 7% moisture content, so there's virtually no water that's come out of it. I did run a heat cycle, which is for sterilizing the bugs, and I just let this run. And basically, what that is that's that heater is plugged into this outlet, and this outlet is controlled by this contactor that's controlled by this thermostat switch. And so that plugs into the top electricity, which is the same as the power strip, and then it goes down here, and then but it controls the contactor for the fan. So this is all working, and then in my in the setup down below, by the way, this is a designation for a plug. So where you see this P in there, that means there's a plug, just a regular 110 plug that plugs into that thing. So a bunch of appliances are plugging in there, and away we go. So let's go on down here to the shed wall, the inside of the wall, and what this is. I made this box out of a 1-inch foam. It's white foam with aluminum foil on one side, and this is in my garden shed, so I needed more room in my garden shed. I just didn't want to have a box there that was taking all the space up and not be able to use it, so I made it strong enough to hold all of the stuff that was here on the below this, and now I store it on top of the shelf in the garden shed. And it's just made out of a 2x4 framed wall, and the wall panels are just 2x4, and they're framed just like a regular wall panel or some ceiling joists, but everything's 2x4s. And then I'm using the 1-inch foam, and I'm lining it, and you know, that's going in. The height is 4 feet from the bottom of the 2x4 to the floor, and the panels fit in there, and basically I don't need to cut them, so to keep my joints neat. And all of my seams are sealed with aluminum duct foil tape, and it's just aluminum metal tape that's got sticky on it, and it's a real good stuff. And then of course I've just got my plywood floor in the bottom, and what I've done is I've also put a piece of foam on the bottom to act as a seal. And then let's move on to the next picture going on that. Yeah, all right, this is a side view, and this has got some more information in it. There's your top frame of your shelf, and it shows the dimensions and the panels. These are for blocking for the foam whenever you put it in there, that you can put the fender washers through it and have a place to tack in, because if it's right here at the edge, this will not give you like a sheetrock nailer. So that's basically what those are. And then this is also blocking that's going in here, and then there's blocking in there that allows you to run a fender washer and pick those up. So in that case, and then this is the sheet that kind of got the prices on everything, and it basically goes down into it and all the price. But the bottom line is it costs $616 for the materials, you know, the screws, the appliances, and about everything that went in the box. So it's about a $616 kiln. Let's go on down to the next view, which is just the roof panel, and that's basically it. These are all just 2x4s. I did end up changing this design and bringing them all out to right here. I do need to go back and change that design so that all my studs are the same length, and that just makes it easier when you do that. Don't do what I did there in that drawing. And then the blue foam is the footprint of the kiln, which is 6 foot long, 4 foot wide, and 4 foot tall. And so that's the footprint of the kiln. And then this is the layout of the kiln. And I built it for 1.5 inch thick, but I'm actually using the 1 inch, and it's actually working really fine. It's doing good. It's 10 degrees outside Fahrenheit, which is cold, and for Missouri, and you know, it's doing a good job. So that kind of thing. The control switches and my power strips are right here. My electrical outlet in my shop is like right here. So it all comes in through a little crack in the door right here on my cords. The heater cord goes out there. The humidifier cord goes out there. And then I have an extension cord that goes from here to feeds the 2 box fans that goes out there. And that's just a regular lamp cord. And then down here on the floor is these are 2x4s that are bolted to the floor or screwed to the floor. They go directly to the plywood floor. And then inside this floor is a piece of the aluminum foil inside. And then on the outside, the door is screwed on there with it has a 1/4 inch piece of plywood on the outside of it, and that's what gives it the deal. This is my theory on what I'm doing as far as I'm going to be doing my wood to kiln dry to air. Basically, I'm taking air dried lumber that's been drying in my shed for about 8 months, and the reason I'm doing that is because that's what I have right now. And so what I'll do is I'll hotbox the treatment is use this kiln. I'm gonna set the dehumidifier to 57 degrees, set the heater for 90 degrees, and then I'll just start checking to see how much moisture that it's pulling out of. This is like green wood that I would be pulling out of it that would come off, and I would just be pulling that and I don't know that I would really need the heater at 90 degrees. If it's in the middle of summer, I could just use the dehumidifier. But for the biggest part, 90 degrees. And then after the wood no longer produces any condensate drainage, turn off the dehumidifier. Of course, you can always just leave it plugged in. It's going to kick off at 95 degrees either way because that's what the manual says. And then you crank up the heat to 139 degrees with the Dura heater, set it on the 1500 watt setting at the maximum heat settings. And the stack of wood that's in there, you want the core temperature wood to be at least 133 degrees for over an hour. It took mine about 4 hours to get up to that temperature with a stack of oak and maple in it. And it wasn't a big stack. It was just, it was probably 18 inches or 20, maybe 24 inches tall. It's 20 inches tall. It's about the height of the box fans, which are 20 by 20. And then I just let it cook overnight at those settings. And the Dura Heat would kick off at 140 and then it'd power down and then it would kick back on and power it back up. So it was, I would say that I was in between 130 degrees to 139 degrees for most of the night, and probably at least 8 hours. So that was good to sterilize the wood. The USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, states that the wood needs to be, the center of the wood product to be heated for 30 minutes at a temperature of at least 133 degrees. Now, it takes a while to get that big of a bundle of wood up to speed and get it hot. So, you got to keep that in mind. With the kiln empty by itself with nothing in there, I can get up to, 140 degrees in less than an hour. Just right at an hour. That's empty, just getting it from, I was 10 degrees outside and I got up to that. So it doesn't take too long to get it up to speed when there's nothing in it. But you put something in it, you have to heat all that mass up. So it does take a while. And this is a breakdown on all the stuff that I've put into it. Just the different materials that went into it. And again, it cost $616. And that is the end of my cheat sheet there. And let me come back.